Okay, next up, let's take a peek at the steering wheel. And first of all, let's give props to Ford for how this display looks inside of the Lariat. I love this thing. I love the look of it. It looks super sharp. But let's start off with the steering wheel first along the left-hand side. As I mentioned, this specific one, we do have the adaptive cruise control setup. This would look slightly different if you didn't have adaptive cruise. But once you use adaptive and figure out how it actually works, it's incredible. That video on how adaptive cruise control works is coming soon. But we can press this button in order to turn the adaptive cruise control system on or off, and we know it's on there. But what we can do is now we've got a distance indicator. So this button there along the top lets us choose between how far or how close we are away from the vehicle that's in front of us. This next one is going to be our lane keeping system. So that centering system, we can turn that one on or off, and that's the one that's going to make sure that we stay in our lane. Now, one thing to note is that the system itself actually does turn on when we hit about 60 kilometers an hour or so, and that's when we'll see those things highlight green, letting us know that that system is now fully activated. From there, once you get up to the speed that you'd like to, we can press plus or minus in order to set the speed, and then we can either increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time, or we can cancel or reset if we ever need to brake manually. As we start to move down, we've got our volume knob, so we can easily either increase or decrease the volume. And from there, we've also got a hotkey for our voice command. But as I mentioned, now with the connectivity availability inside of that Sync 4 screen, so now with that wake up word, we can press this button, or we can just say something simple like, "Okay, Ford." And as you can see there, that voice command list is now active. So we don't have to press the steering wheel button anymore, but just knowing that we now have a hotkey to press if we need to. On the right-hand side of the steering wheel there, as you can see, we've got our basic back button, menu button, up and down, and OK. So that's going to let us figure out kind of what's going on with this middle screen there. So we would use these buttons in order to change between active screens. So as you can see there, we've got different options, lots of different things. We can configure the view as well. So we can have different screens showing up there. So lots of different options there, which is kind of neat. Press the back button there. So basic driver assistance settings. So that driver assistance setting, that's going to be the lane keeping system look and feel. Again, this system is currently turned on. We can turn it off as well too if we'd like, and just press the OK button. So if you ever get a message showing up on that screen, so as you can see there, let's turn the system on again. So as you can see, there we go. And we can press that OK button in order to be able to turn it off. From there, we can press that menu button again in order to bring up different views. We can look at some different trips. So look at different trips. We've got our EV coach, some basic driver assistance settings as well. So it's kind of neat what you can select through there. From there, if we ever need to reset anything, so fuel economy, all we're going to do is press and hold the OK button there, and it's going to reset us back to our default again there. And same thing with our trip. All we have to do is press and hold the OK button there, and then that will reset the trip as well. Trip counter, very, very straightforward, and we've got a lot of different options there, which is kind of cool. I do love the fact that we can kind of customize this look, and we can tweak different screens, and we can add different things in. So it is really, really beneficial that we've got the capabilities to do that. We can look at some basic truck information as well. So seatbelts connected. Anybody that's currently got a seatbelt on, as of right now, nobody does have their seatbelts going, but let me put my seatbelt on for a second so you can see what happens. Here we go, and boom. Boom, one seatbelt on. So it's kind of neat that we've got that capability, so you can make sure that everybody that's sitting inside the vehicle actually is wearing their seatbelt. It's a nice little safety feature availability through Ford. So you've got the capabilities to do some basic customizations to the screen, which is kind of nice. Now, one thing, let's look at, oh, actually, this is kind of neat. So navigation, if you had a route going, it would show up on this middle screen there, letting you know how quickly before you have to turn. But you've also got the capabilities, instead of going through that screen, you can now search between different addresses. You can navigate to your home address as well. If your phone was connected, you could go through some basic phone settings. We've also got the ability to select between our AM, FM, Sirius XM directly through this middle screen. And then again, back to some basic settings. So we can configure our gauges, which are going to be these little guys along the top. So we can swap positions there and figure out what kind of gauges are going to be showing up. Again, matter of preference, which one shows up where. And then speed in kilometers and miles per hour. So really, really beneficial there. Now, border crossing, if you're getting close to a border, you'll get a warning letting you know about that. Neutral tow, and then our vehicle maintenance. So oil life, so when you do an oil change, just reset that. And then you've also got the tire pressure reset as well. This is the button that we would press in order to answer or hang up on a phone call. And from there, we can either change songs, radio stations, etc. by pressing this button.